When's the next time we're going to see a dominant champion, somebody running the division? I think with all the talent pool that's in there, it might be.
If Leon gets it back, you know he's going to be trying to hold that thing for as long as possible. If not, Bilal Muhammad got it. They say Shavkat's next. Sean Brady.
It's a shakeup. All those names you listed and that many more. I just saw another thing where they're looking to give JDM the shot instead of Ian Gary, and he's over there complaining too. There's a lot of names in the hat for who can be a champion, but it does come back to the question you're asking.
I'm not trying to say that the UFC is blending itself and turning into some type of entertainment channel, but the reality is we're in the era, AJ, we're in the era of boring champions right now. Really, that means you have skillful, very skillful fighters who know how to dominate a fight, right? But the fans don't like it. The casuals are leaving in droves. Someone's got to spice it up, but they're asking for Shavkat, a finisher. They're asking for somebody who can get the job done. Are we going to need to see a finish at UFC London between Leon Edwards and Sean Brady to actually see who gets that next shot? Is that what it comes down to?
I believe so, Derick. I mean, we're also in the era where moments matter in fights, and it's no longer just who's the better fighter going into there. You get a couple big pops from the audience, you're going to be seeing your name in the next title fight, or at least on the main card, main event. That's really where we're at nowadays.
A lot to break down, folks, but before we jump into all of that, of course, let's do a little bit of record recap. Let's take a look at what last week looked like in AJ. UFC Fight Night 254, consensus picks, let's just start there. 3-2. Not our finest work, but we were above 500. We hit on Alexander Hernandez, Damon Blackshear, and Kevin Vallejos. Big misses though, man. Chidi and Jaquani. The man looks like a menace as long as he can keep the fight standing, and he sure did that. Brenton Ribeiro, let's talk about it, man. Big miss right here. We picked the UFC debutant to go in there and try to get the job done, but the man showed up, he showed out, and he got the finish, brother. How impressive was it?
So impressive, Derick. I almost wrote down fraud check on this one, especially what Nurgajay, I forget the exact name. Nurgajay, yeah. Thank you, Derick. Especially being at a minus 400 favorite, it almost felt like we needed to take that pick, because if it didn't hit, we looked dumb. Well, it turns out Brenton Ribeiro came back and make everybody look dumb. You never want to just get looking like that. And man, very impressive performance, and credit to Nurgajay's flexibility on that Kimura, man. That shit was in deep.
Yeah, man. See, this is the tough part about it. Is you got these contender series guys, these Eastern European guys who are coming on over fantastic undefeated records, and they're getting these massive lines. Ribeiro shouldn't have been that much of a dog. We did scoff at it a little bit when we first saw it, but the job is on us to correctly identify it and say, nah, fraud check is incoming. So folks, we let you down there, but 3-2 on the consensus picks. Now, winner of the week, AJ, you got the job done. The winning pick that took you over the edge, Roman Dolidze versus Vettori. We'll talk about it more in a moment. Everything else was pretty much on par. Listen, we're very close for the competition, the head-to-head competition that we're fighting for. Let's not forget, championship belts behind me, championship belt behind AJ. 28-18-1 for you, 29-17-1 for me. We are both hovering above 60%. Not good enough. 70% is the goal. That's what we're on track for. All right, AJ, props. I hit on my prop, you hit on your prop, brother. This is like the first week we both hit in a row, so I gotta say, listen, kudos to us right here. Easiest bet on the card. I would be lying to say that I was wrong on this one. This was definitely the easiest bet. Vettori Dolidze goes the distance. Come on, minus 190. That should have been like minus 400, but let's call it right there. AJ Hernandez versus Kurt Holabad to go to the distance. That's minus 170. Props were chalky, but they hit, and that's all that matters. 6 takeaways. Or 6 dogs cashed for some of our key takeaways here, man. Dolidze, Njokuani, Ribeiro, Carlos Vera, Sam Hughes. That one, we should have highlighted that one. And Priscilla Cachoeira. 9 out of the 13 fights ended in a finish. 4 first-round finishes. AJ, I say all of this to say, the casuals got to relax, man. They called last week's card horrendous, garbage, trash, and it ended up being one of the most fire cards next to UFC Seattle, which also got trashed the same. What's your word to the people?
This is not only an exciting weekend of fights, but where the money was made on these fights. So if you're thinking you got a boring card, you might want to double look, because those are the cards where you cash in the fattest.
Yeah, the money is not made on the big pay-per-view cards with all the most popular fighters. Believe it or not, folks, they're exciting. We'll have to talk about it, but the real money is made on the sleepers, because that's where you find the weird lines that we identified just last week, and we got some this week too. We have 5 consensus picks. I'm going to roll through them. We're not going to talk about the contentious one. We'll hit a couple props, all the fun stuff, and jump into the main card. First one, we got Sean Brady rolling with the Philadelphia native. We're rolling with Kevin Holland, Alexia Thainara, Jordan Vucenic. We're going to talk about him for sure. And surprisingly, Morgan Charrière. I'm actually surprised about Charrière and Holland. I was not expecting to see consensus, but you, as always, have a theme for us. What's the theme for our UFC London consensus picks?
Ooh, Derick, the theme this week is calm, cool, and composed. If all of these fighters aren't able to just stay right there, calm, cool, and composed, instead of getting frantic and losing sight of how the game plan is going to be going, I see all of their game plans working out to a T and getting us that dub.
That's how I feel right now. Calm, cool, and composed, brother, heading into UFC London. So let's keep it rolling with some props right here. You got a good one, man. Talk to the people. What's your prop?
We're going CLD, Chris Leroy Duncan by KO. And like Derick said, minus money right here, minus 165. You're getting a minus 500 favorite in a fight where a KO is very, very likely because you have two very explosive fighters going into this. Leroy Duncan alone has ended 8 out of his 10 fights by knockout. I'm expecting this one to cash.
Yeah, you got a dog right here. Heavy favorite. Play that one, folks. I got a good one for you here, too. We're going to extend it heavyweights, and I know I was just talking about it. It's heavyweights. You smash the under. We're taking a different approach this time. Marcin Tybura versus Mick Parkin over 2.5 rounds, minus 155. Hey, these are technical guys. Parkin's got the big power. Tybura, he thrives in extended fights. We don't have to finish the fight. It does not have to go to a distance. We just need to get halfway past that final round, or that, you know what I'm trying to say, folks. So this is going to be a banger. Heavyweight lock it in, and we got a lot more coming for you. Subscribe if you haven't done so yet. 4,000 plus in the Bloody Water Podcast Army. But AJ, let's not mince any more words, brother. Let's jump straight to it, specifically to that UFC London main card, brother.
Here's to another main card breakdown, courtesy of your hosts Derick G and AJ.
Leon Edwards, Sean Brady, man. Everyone's talking about this fight, and they're talking about, well, if Belal Muhammad is going to just walk him down and break him, Sean Brady's going to do the same exact thing. And AJ, I have to take a step back right here. There's many past victories for both of these fighters, but there's one thing that I think is not harped on enough, and that's that Leon Edwards is no slouch, bro. Yes, pressure can be a little bit difficult for him and his fight style off the back foot counter striking, but if this fight stays on the feet, if he could somehow get to the clinch, circle out, and keep it open back up with Sean Brady, I think he has a lot more to offer on the feet than Brady does personally. Talk to him.
I definitely think Leon Edwards is the more well-rounded and technical striker going into this. Yeah, Brady hits with some power, but what Leon possesses is timing and counter strikes, man. His counter strikes are sick. Like you're saying, if he's able to get in the clinch, dip to the side, and then come back with one while Sean Brady's trying to advance, knockout potential all day long. I mean, they're very likely that Leon Edwards is going to be able to find holes that Sean Brady presents, especially because Sean's always looking to push, always looking to find some way to advance to be able to get to the dominant position he's in. Man, Leon Edwards is no slouch at all.
Sean Brady's going to walk forward and he's going to try to neutralize Leon Edwards' offense with his wrestling, but you have to keep that 25-minute wrestling pace. The thing that I've noticed about Leon and just watching film is it's just like a demoralization more than a lack of skills.
I can see where people get that notion, right? And the thing is with Leon, I even have it written down as one of my notes, he has excellent moments in fights. He can be down, he can be going in, he's never going to get knocked out or submitted. Well, he possibly can be, never has, but he's always in the fight, right? He has moments where I agree with you, he does look demoralized, but he's also able to provide those big shock and awe moments to keep him in the fights. And I agree with you where I can see why people would put him in that camp of athlete instead of just like a fighter who, no matter what the case is, they're going to stand toe to toe, bite down on their mouthpiece and just swing till all hell comes loose, whether win or lose. I don't see Leon Edwards doing that, especially because he's such a good athlete and very, very smart on how he's able to fight.
There's been some photos circulating around, and I wanted to save this for later, but let's at least talk about it. The arm, the forearm, the elbow, whatever you want to call it, but it's not looking good for Leon. He's looking like he could be slightly compromised with some sort of infection. Most people, they'll automatically assume it's staph or something of that nature. But if you're seeing a Leon Edwards not back against the wall, because he suffered, his first loss in 10 years, but you lost your championship. You're looking to get back into title contention. You're technically already there. A loss against Brady sets you back pretty far. How far, though, does it set him back?
Massively, especially because pre-champ Leon Edwards, nobody gave him the respect. I forget the amount of fights he had to be able to actually get the championship belt. 8 or 10. Yeah, there you go. 10 fights. That's wild to be able to go undefeated 10 times and then go and finally get the chance to deserve the belt. I think if he loses this one, he's going right back to the line, especially going back to what we said to the intro. There's so many names that are calling for it. JDM, Ian Gary, Shavkat. Like, there's so many names in this division. It's hard to put yourself out of there, right? To have you be the thumb that's sticking up when you're not winning fights or finishing them.
Yeah, no, that's fair, man. Let's talk about X's and O's, because we know what the narrative of the story is, right? It's the pressure, it's the young guy, Sean Brady, Leon, back foot, all that good stuff. But the fight can actually play out a lot differently, man. Leon's big, right? He's 6'2", he's got frame, he's got reach. He needs to stick and move. And if we're looking at the performance that has won people over from the side of Sean Brady, it's just walking down Gilbert Burns, who's not a natural 170-pound fighter, really is a natural 155er. Yeah, you pushed him around, you did your thing, you put the gas on him and all that good stuff. I just don't think that the crispness, the speed, the power, or the efficacy of Leon Edwards is anywhere close to Gilbert Burns. I think it's two different stratospheres that we're talking about, which is then again why I say if you look at Sean Brady, some of the entries are going to be a little bit crude. This leaves opportunities for counters, this leaves opportunities for knockouts, this also leads for the opportunity of pick him up, dump him on his head, and try to get a submission. So the line here, AJ, 4.5 rounds, minus 205 for the over, plus 150 for the under. What are we liking on a fight like this, man? It's hard for me to get a read on. I don't know if I like an extended fight here.
The only reason I do like an extended fight right here, Derick, is because Leon Edwards has never been finished. But then we go back to the supposed staph infection, being compromised, and having a bully of Sean Brady that's going into that fight. I initially think the over, and I'm going to stick with it. I think that's probably the smart play right here. I give Leon Edwards a lot of credit in that fact of he is durable and able to withstand some things and have good movement to get out. It's interesting to see, though, because if Sean Brady doesn't get a finish right here, I'm not sure he even gets the next shot up.
Yeah, man, this is the one thing that I'm having just a little bit of a hard time myself wrapping my mind around. But if Sean Brady really puts a backpack on Leon Edwards and he gets him down, I think he can get a finish, man. I think that a second, third, fourth round, maybe second or third, fourth and fifth, it's uncharted territory, so I'm not sure. But like a second or third round, just constant smashing them down, looking for an arm triangle, looking for a rear naked, something like a power submission. I think it could happen. Sean Brady is the official play here, AJ. Now we need to come to terms with how does it get done. You just mentioned you like an extended fight, so the play for you, is it going to be Sean Brady money line, or are you taking that decision plus 155 point play?
Ooh, Derick, I'm taking the decision at plus 150. I'm giving respect to Leon Edwards right here. I think he deserves it. I'm expecting the extended fight.
All right, plus 155 is the current odd right there. I'm going to take Sean Brady too. I'm going to say something crazy here, man. I'm going all out. Sean Brady proved me wrong. He was a guy that I was betting against, and now the step up in competition is high, but I think that this is the moment for change in the 170-pound division. Give me the plus 375 submission win for Sean Brady. If he doesn't get the submission win, AJ, I'm pretty confident. Like I said, if Leon Edwards was fully good to go, I would even say knockout Leon right here. But we're going Sean Brady. We're going the submission. And like I said, new era in the 170-pound division, baby. All right, man, that's your main event. Next up, Jan Błachowicz, former champion in the light heavyweight division. AJ, how quickly they forget. Ulberg comes through. Massive favorite, minus 300, plus 240 comeback from the man who was a former champion, but at the same time, injuries, 2-year layoff, 42 years old. I'd be lying to you if I didn't say Jan Błachowicz was my initial play, but don't forget, AJ, you remember, Ulberg is a guy that I had bet on extensively against and lost every single time. So I'm surprised because you've made a ton of money here on Ulberg. You're going the opposite way. Talk to us, brother. What do we like about the Polish power, the legendary Jan Błachowicz? What do we like here?
What I like most, Derick, is his experience. Yeah, he listed a lot of things. Like you said, he's a little older in here. He has a lot more miles on those tires, but he's seen everything Ulberg has to offer, right? Maybe not. Maybe there might be some tricks up Ulberg's sleeve. Maybe the speed is getting to Błachowicz in this fight, but he's seen and done everything that gives me all the intent that this guy is going to be able to stifle the power and the striking of Ulberg. If Jan Błachowicz is able to get to the ground game right here, it might be just over from the jump. I mean, we haven't seen Ulberg have to really defend that stuff. And the last time somebody rushed him was in his last fight, absolutely got knocked out. I don't see Jan going in and playing the back and forth in the striking match as extended. I do think it's going to start off there, but extended play, I think he's going to really try to get this fight to the ground.
That rush knockout was a good one against Menifield. Wasn't his last one. If that was his last one, I'd still probably be going Błachowicz. But what he did to Volkan Ozdemir, that 3-round decision right there, that really impressed me, man. And Jan, let's not forget, man. Yeah, you beat Israel Adesanya. You lose to Glover, the champ. You beat Alexander Rakic, have a draw with the current champ, Magomed Ankalaev, and you lose a split to the former champ Alex Paeta right there. It goes to show Błachowicz was hanging with the best of them. But AJ, 2 years passed. 2 years is a long time in a light heavyweight's career. I think that Ulberg has a unique skill set right here, that his kickboxing is so superior and is so like fundamental for what it is that he does, where all it takes is that one shot. An older Jan Błachowicz, do you still believe in the chin? The same chin that was able to weather shots from Alexander Rakic?
No, unfortunately not, Derick. This fight, in all transparency, folks, I was also looking at Ulberg, but I'm not going to come in here and have the exact same picks as Derick. Can't be doing that for you. We need a little bit of controversy, and this is the fight where, if Jan is fully healed, right, has that 2-year break, but he did it to get back into shape or get back his shin back to the where it used to be, I think he has the potential to be able to win this fight. So do I fully believe in it now? No. But would I be shocked if he does have that in him? No. There's a great possibility that he can withstand a lot of the strikes coming from Ulberg.
Don't get me wrong, man. I agree. If Ulberg gets taken down, this could be a very, very short fight. I've also been saying that against all the other guys that he's fought, but nobody that he has fought is even remotely close to the pedigree of Jan Błachowicz, man. Volkan Ozdemir, Lonzo Menefield, Dawn Jung, Ior Poteria, Negamedianu. I remember when he got that win, bro, I was already blown away because Negamedianu I was so high on, but where did he go? Who knows? The point that I have here, man, is Ulberg, I'm going to give him the speed edge, I'm going to give him the movement edge, and I'm even going to give him the power edge in this one, because if you tether the power with the speed together, it just pops a little bit different than just the big shot from Jan. Listen, love to the Polish power, but Ulberg is going to be the new generation, man. It's just a different day and age, brother. Minus 300, I don't like that, though. So let's just address the money right here. I do not like Ulberg at minus 300 over Jan. I think that's way too much, but there are a couple different ways that we can make some money here. Over 2.5. AJ, live on the over. Minus 140 for the over, plus 110 for the under. What do you like here?
Woo, Derick. I like the over because I'm betting Jan, but if zero bias aside, just playing this one straight, that under makes a lot of sense to me, especially at 2.5 rounds. We've seen what Carlos Ulberg can do to a lot of these people. Given the majority of the fight, I can see why the odds makers have this one a lot closer than what the money line's looking at.
3 first-round knockouts for Ulberg in his last 5 fights. But AJ, even with all of that being said, even with the power, everything I'm harping on, I'm going to take Ulberg by decision. I respect the chin of Jan Błachowicz. I know he's older. I know it's going to weather with time, but he hasn't taken the big shot. He's not a guy who gets knocked out left and right. That's what's really going to diminish the chin. He's had a lot of rest. It's just a matter of, have you had that chin touched in a while? And if you have, has it been by somebody with the caliber of power that Carlos Ulberg brings to the table? So again, you can call this a I've learned my lesson bet right here, but I am going to go against Jan Błachowicz. Ulberg is the play. I'm taking plus 145 points. AJ, you're taking Jan Błachowicz, and how does he get it done? Decision? Plus 475?
I'm also taking 475, Derick. I might actually take the 475 decision makes the most sense. I was gonna say money line, but the only way I see him really getting a finish right here is a takedown and ground and pound, which could happen. But like you said, Ulberg hasn't had really anybody really take him down, hold him down yet. So I'm going 475 decision.
All right, that's your play right there for the co-main event, light heavyweight. Moving on up, man, this seems like almost a fantasy match right here. Gunnar Nelson versus Kevin Holland in the 170-pound division. All right, AJ, let's address the elephant in the room. Kevin Holland, man, it's been a rough skid, 1-4 in your last 5, but there's always a but to this. This isn't just any 1-4 skid, man. He's going up and down divisions. He's being a company man. He's fighting whoever, whenever, the hottest names, whatever the case may be. And then you got Gunnar Nelson, who's got like 2 minutes of cage time in the last like 2 years or something like that, man. Like, he doesn't fight a lot, bro. Last win, nasty. You took down Brian Barberena, bam, bam, dangerous, exciting, and you submitted him and you got him out of there. But we don't really have much else to go off of, man. So what do we know? Bouncy, karate stance, blitz in, and take care of you. And we know that Kevin Holland didn't fare well against Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, but Gunnar Nelson's not going to kickbox with Kevin Holland, AJ. So how does this matchup play out, and why is Kevin Holland a plus 110 dog? Why is it so close to even money when he's on such a rough streak?
Derick, I think, 2 reasons. I think he's an underdog because of how the streak has been going, but I think he's a lot closer and not just a massive underdog because this is 170 Kevin Holland. This isn't 185 Kevin Holland. It's going to get bullied around like he did in his last fight. And I do think that plays into a lot of people's minds. They see Gunnar Nelson, you're right, crashes in, fast hands, likes to pressure you, likes to get his hands on you, and then just work for the takedown and get down. But again, this is 170-pound Kevin Holland. He's able to scrap with these boys. He's able to roll around. This is where I feel like he naturally should be. And that's why I think it's a lot closer of a nod than what it would normally be if this was a 185-pound fight.
Yeah, I'd agree with you wholeheartedly, man. Rainer de Ritter, double champ, 2 divisions in 1 championship. Roman Dolidze, who's right there in the cusp of title contention in the middleweight division. You fought both of those guys and you lost. Okay. You know what I mean? You got finished in the first round, though. That's where it's a little disappointing. And I want your opinion on this. Joaquin Buckley, he didn't have any nice words to say about Kevin Holland. He basically said, listen, you're content with what you're getting paid with. You got finished in the first round against a dude from a different promotion. And you weren't even mad. I don't know if you'd be able to assess if another individual is mad or not. Like, how could you tell? But really more on that line, man. This is the dangerous part about betting Kevin Holland, is you never know what you're going to get. But I am confident that the discipline that it takes to get to 170 versus 185, you're going to see a little bit more of a dialed in performance. So talk to me about path to victory. Gunnar Nelson, aside from takedown and submission, is there any path to victory against a dude with like a 9-inch reach advantage against you?
Ooh, I want to say yes. I want to say if Gunnar Nelson is able to maintain not necessarily distance, but good like boxing distance in that karate back and forth he has, he might be able to land some shots and avoid the danger, especially if Kevin Holland is overextending. You know, overextending in the combos, reaching a little bit, and then Gunnar's able to cut an angle and get to the takedown, hold him down. That's probably his best way, but man, the takedown, again, you got to keep Kevin Holland on his back.
Yeah, you got to keep him on his back, which I don't think that Gunnar Nelson would have that much of a problem with because of how fluent he is in his grappling. But again, Kevin Holland, man, 9-inch reach advantage, brother. Listen, when you have the karate stance, naturally your hands are low, your chin is it's up there a little bit, and you're looking for that moment when I can, fast twitch. When can I get in there? If you eat a right hand from Kevin Holland at 170 pounds, I don't know if you're getting up from that one. I don't have much else on this matchup other than I think that it's either Kevin Holland by knockout or it's Gunnar Nelson by submission. Do you see a decision path here for either fighter?
For Kevin Holland, oh, well, actually, no, for both. I mean, if Kevin Holland's able to keep the standing, point him up, piece him up, do what Stephen Wonderboy Thompson did to him, and then if you're Gunnar Nelson, keep him down, to hold him there, don't let him get up. Like, you are the better grappler. Kevin Holland, he can snatch a submission if the opportunity is presented, but I think Gunnar Nelson's a little too good for that, so I could see a decision. Personally, though, Derick, I'm rocking plus 250 Kevin Holland KO.
Well, let's talk about what the odds makers are looking at for these overs, man. For the people who aren't on a side right here, dog, over the 2.5 is the overs for rounds, plus 135 for the over, minus 165 for the under. Odds makers are saying this thing is ending early.
Yeah, odds makers are saying this thing's ending early, Derick, and that, to me, that favors Kevin Holland, which is crazy that he's the underdog in this fight. Because, could Gunnar Nelson just steamroll him and get him out of there in a slick submission? Yeah, but I do think Kevin Holland has grown his game enough to not just absolutely get, ragdolled in there.
All right, that's fair. And now that I'm actually looking at it, man, looks like we have a little bit of a round shift. So depending on the book that you're looking at, you can find 1.5 rounds, minus 160 for the over, plus 125 for the under, which even goes to show if 2.5 rounds is out there, you are betting the under on that one 100%. So AJ, let's leave it cut and dry right here. Kevin Holland is the play. I would say take Kevin Holland just as a dog right here, live dog plus 110, take it. But if you don't have a side, under 2.5 rounds where you could find it. If it's 1.5, are you taking over or under?
If it's 1.5, I'm taking the over.
All right, that's fair. I'm in the same boat right there. So we're consensus across the board. This is going to be a fun one, a battle of the guy who's on a rough streak, but he's active versus the guy who is winning fights, but you don't see him really ever fight. A lot of people thought Gunnar Nelson was retired. I did too. I thought that after we saw the last one, we wouldn't see him again. But that's your play right there, folks. All right, man. Keeping it pushing. The meatball, Molly McCann, slimmed down. No longer the meatball, like the slim meatball, like the fat-free meatball. You know what I mean? She's on here, and she's getting ready to fight newcomer Thainara. Hey, man, this is going to be a fun matchup right here because Molly McCann at strawweight kind of feels like Kevin Holland at welterweight to me. Just a little more serious, a little more dedicated. You're taking the extra time to cut the extra weight so that you're not fighting people who are that much bigger than you. The only problem here, man, is if you took a look at Molly McCann and you took a look at that win. Let's just talk about the win that she had against Hannah Goldie, right? That was I think that was 125 right there. A blitz with the big punches, right? All right, Molly McCann special. Couple losses later, she gets a win against Diana Belbita. She surprises her with some jiu-jitsu. AJ, you're not surprising Thainara with jiu-jitsu in this one, man. You got to come correct. You got to try to knock her out. You got to try to spark her or do something, because she's kind of the full package, man. She's technical. She can grapple. She can extend the fight. She can go the full 15 minutes, man. Really, really good stand up. What do you like here about the Dana White Contender Series alum that Molly McCann hasn't already seen?
I think one of the big things that is a good and a bad, right? It's a double-edged sword for Thainara. She's able to get wild in the pocket, right? And that could be a great thing for Molly McCann because she is amazing in a brawl, but not a lot of people want to go in there and just go toe-to-toe with the meatball. So if Thainara is able to get in there and surprise Molly McCann, really keep her on the back foot and almost put that thought in her head like, damn, it's happening again. Like I'm just getting controlled. I'm getting rolled over on, and then just put it on her and then work Thainara's ground game, because I do agree. I think that's what she's better at right here. Use the kicks, keep her guessing, and then just absolutely put it to her. I think that's a good path if nothing else does work on the ground.
Yeah, man. I mean, Thainara, she's younger, she's longer, she's got more paths to victory, in my opinion, here. Molly McCann, even though she's a tough fighter and like I said, discipline and all that good stuff, I don't do what stands out for Molly McCann in this fight. What can she do? Can she do anything to surprise Thainara in this?
Starch her off the jump in one of those crazy exchanges. I mean, that's why I was saying it's a pro for Molly McCann also, because if she is able to close that reach advantage, get up inside, and then just start working like crazy, that's one of the best ways Molly McCann's able to fight, and that's why we love her so much, because she's that exciting, crazy fighter. I think it could be a double-edged sword.
I was going to say she's probably going to try to push her up against the cage and see what happens from there. I just think that puts her at a disadvantage. Think about it. Thainara trains with the Hebos family. The Hebos family, specialists in two things, judo and jiu-jitsu. You're going to get judo thrown onto your back and then put into a crucifix position or something worse, which is pretty much what she was the victim of against Blanchfield. Stoliarenko armbarred her. Bruna Brazil, that fight right there. I mean, that was just a fight right there. So again, this is one of those tough ones where you could take the I don't want to even put it in this word, but it's like the evil you know versus the evil that you're not sure about. We know what Molly McCann does, and betting on her, it's always a mixed bag. But Thainara is also coming out of the Contender Series, kind of similar to the way that Nurgajai came out, dog, minus 200 against an established UFC veteran, but you really haven't done anything to prove yourself, aside from you racked up some regional wins, some good wins on that end. But yeah, talk to me, brother. Is the winning streak good enough right now to warrant minus 200 over Molly McCann?
The winning streak alone, Derick, I don't think so. But what I do think a lot, or plays into a lot of the minds of the odds makers right here, is how much of a skid Molly McCann is on. And in what's crazy, you're talking about the Dana Belbita submission. I was impressed by it, but I think it gets overshadowed by a lot of the losses she has. Right. The submissions, the back-to-back submissions as well, and then losing to Brazil. Like, this is a Molly McCann who had all the spotlight, but can't seem to get herself back into the spotlight because of the losses she's taken.
That's the world of MMA though, right, brother? It's like you have a hot year, maybe a hot 2 years, and if you don't keep the momentum rolling, all of that stuff can go away. So we'll see if she can get back on track. It's London, notably missing Patty Pimblett in this one, but it's okay because she's going to try to look to make a name of her own right here. So the play is Alexia Thainara, and what's the official play on it, man? Are you taking money line? Are you taking a submission? What are you taking?
I'm taking by points right here, Derick. What's the money line we're looking at? Oh yeah, minus 200. Nah, too much for me. I like the points. I do, and again, because I respect Molly McCann. Yeah, she can get finished. We've seen it happen before, especially by submission. You're looking at a plus 400. I mean, it's not the worst odds if you're looking for a finish in this fight.
And if you don't feel the finishes here, plus 120 for Thainara by decision is 100,000% the play. Like 100,000% the play. I like that way better than I like betting minus 200 against her, even though the submission is definitely something on the table. You've got to think, Molly McCann, I'm not going to say I have any insight because I don't, but you'd imagine from what you've seen from her, she's been drilling the grappling, man. She knows she could fight. It's just a matter of, can you be well-rounded? So we'll see if she can be. But Thainara is your consensus play. And AJ, moving on to, in my opinion, the most exciting fight of this main card right here, man. Vucenic got Jordan Vucenic versus Chris Duncan. AJ, man, this dude Vucenic is no joke. You come in, dog. All right, hold on. Let me just give the roundup right here. You come in on what, 6 days notice, 9 days notice, something super short. You go to a 3-round decision with Guram Kutataladze, one of my sleepers, one of the guys who I've been saying is a how would you say, a hidden gem, if you will. And what did you do? You lost the fight. All right, that's fair. But you started off hot. You won the first round and everything kind of went downhill from there. But you showed massive promise against a dude who is an underrated stud who, honestly, I mean, taking that fight on short notice, that tells you everything that you need to know. But you get Chris Duncan in return, and he's coming off of that big win against Oki, man. Balaji Oki, that first round submission where nobody thought it was going to happen. The striker comes in and submits the dude. All right, right on, man. Vucenic, though, you fought everyone there is to fight in the regional scene, I should say. And now you're in the UFC, up a weight class, because traditionally he is a 145er, so 1-1 at 155 pounds, including the short notice loss. My question to you is, how far of a run can this man go, and how much of a deterrent, how much of an obstacle is Chris Duncan standing in his way for this bounce back fight?
That's a good question, Derick, because truly, I think it's still yet to be seen how far Vucenic can go. Like, I think especially the potential and at the weight class he's at, 145 pounds, like, the boxing is there.
155 now.
Oh, 155 pounds, excuse me. The boxing is there. He's fast and he is powerful, but is he as powerful as a natural 155er, right? Like one of the notes I have written down, he has a piston of a right hand, but if you're hitting guys that are bigger than you and they're not feeling it as much as everybody else, especially on the regional scene where you were just knocking people out, submitting on left and right, like it goes into the play. So how far can he go in this division? I think he could be pretty good, especially like all the writings on the wall. This guy, we could see him at least in the top 10, but that's yet to be seen because is he in the right division right now?
I think he is, man, especially with him being able to have the performance he did against Kutatolate on short notice. I think it goes to show you, yeah, you're not going to have the devastating power that you maybe had the division below, but you could hang with all of these dudes, man. The boxing is crisp. The speed is phenomenal. The shots are impeccable. And I'm not trying to just say that this guy is the full package, but when you watch him, he pops off the page, in my opinion. When I watch tape, I'm like, this dude, you could tell he's the real deal. You could see why he had the success that he did on the regional scene, why he was a champion, right? But the guy in front of you, Chris Duncan, is no joke. The difference is, man, he's a massive dog. Plus 325 dog for Duncan, minus 450 for Vucenic, and I think it's for all of the reasons that I just stated right there. Really, it comes down to what's the path that he decides to take. Does he want to keep it standing? Does he want to make it grappling oriented? Based on the film that you watched, what do you think the approach is going to be on Saturday?
Ooh, are you saying Duncan or Vucenic?
Vucenic.
Vucenic. I think he's going to start slow, work the ground game to tire Duncan out, and then really try to piece him up and make a show of this one. I think especially with what you're talking about with the Kutatolade fight, there was a lot of notice there, but it wasn't as much as he popped off the page for us. It wasn't one of those that he got all the crowd, all the casuals looking now. So I think he's going to go in there, calm, composed right at the beginning, find his game plan, and then really put it to effect in rounds 2 and 3.
4 submission wins in his last 5, man, all in the first or second round for Vucenic right there. And then if you're looking at Chris Duncan, some good wins, man. Some good wins. What? 1, 2, 3, 4 wins, knockouts, couple decisions, and a submission. You got to love it. I just think, like I said, Vucenic, man, 13-3, 12-2 Chris Duncan. These guys are good, but the line is not, I mean, you just can't get value from a minus 450 Vucenic. I think that they're betting not only on Vucenic, what he's done now, but I'm betting on his history, and I think they're betting on his promise in the future. So it's a multifaceted layer to this approach right here. Odds 2.5, plus 125 for the over, minus 160 for the under. Odds makers clearly think a finish is happening in this one. Plus 300 for a Vucenic knockout, plus 170 for a Vucenic submission. What are you taking?
Ooh, Derick, I like the under, especially because it's 2.5, so minus 160. I like it a lot. So just playing off that, I'm going with the Vucenic submission right here. Piece him up, get him tired, take him down, find a way to get a submission. Makes a lot of sense if you're Vucenic better.
Goes to show, man, it's hard to bet this fight because there's so many different paths because this guy is so good. But Chris Duncan is one of those guys who's a very healthy obstacle in front of you, because if you're not on your P's and Q's, he's going to take you out for sure. So I like the fight right here. Vucenic is the play. Take him however you want him, but I like under 2.5 rounds at minus 160. I think that's probably your best bet right there. So yeah, you got anything else on this one?
Nah, brother, this one, I'm excited because I can see how this one would become a war as well.
That's right. But moving on to our next one, the one to open up the actual main card right here. You got a dude in Nathaniel Wood, the prospect, whose his nickname, I should say, might be coming back to bite him, man. He can't stay a prospect forever. And for whatever reason, they put him back in London, and they give him Morgan the last pirate, man. They give him Charrière. And this is really tough right here because in my mind, I was like, why are you making this matchup? You got two guys who are kind of similar. In my mind, ultimately, it's like whoever wins this fight gets the push, right? Whoever wins this fight gets that big appeal, right? And the reason that I say that is because in essence, Nathaniel Wood in how many UFC fights, man, it's decision, right? So it's like, all right, if you get a big finish against a dude coming from a different promotion who has that star power in Morgan Charrière, all right, we can finally get behind you with the marketing media machine. But if you keep racking up these decisions, it's a close fight and you squeak one by or you lose, I don't know how much more they're going to try to give Nathaniel Wood, which is a shame because this dude is awesome from a skill perspective. What do you think the lore behind this matchup is? Why is this fight happening?
Yeah, I think it's a push fight, Derick. Whoever's able to separate themselves in this division, in the what are they fighting at? 155 pounds? I forgot. I don't have it up.
145.
145. Whoever's able to get that little bit of notice, right? That little bit of something else in there. I think they're going to be one of the ones here we're seeing 2-3 years, maybe even shorter than that, actually fighting for the title going into this. But it is, again, it's what you're saying. You got the Charrière who's coming in hot, and as good as Nathaniel Wood is, not many people are clamoring to see him fight. So this is really a prove it and get the push or just get out the door kind of fight.
Yeah, man, they're kind of keeping them exclusive to some of these London cards, which is good because you got to have the home crowd flavor and all of that good stuff, man. But again, I think it's a fight style thing more than anything. So let's talk about the X's and O's. He opens up as a slight dog, plus 125, minus 150 comeback for the last pirate. And if you compare that to the opening odds, man, Wood opened up as a favorite, minus 160. So it's a complete line flip right here. And I think that is a pretty simple matchup, even though when I first looked at this, I was like, this is going to be like, I don't have any other way to put it. I was like, this is going to be a bitch to break down, man. I'm going to have to watch this film. I'm going to have to make hard decisions. I don't know who's going to win this fight. And the more that I watched it, the more that I'm convinced. Nathaniel Wood, in my opinion, he's going to be the busier fighter. He's going to throw more output. He's got to watch his chin because he could definitely get rocked. We've seen it in a couple different fights, but he's going to be the busier guy. He doesn't need to be the more powerful guy in this matchup. I don't think he can because Charrière is going to come in. He's going to be low volume, in my opinion. He's just going to try to find the spot. But while Nathaniel Wood is racking up all of these strikes throughout the rounds, I think it's going to come down to very similar to a Marvin Vettori Roman Dolidze, man. Who lands more damage? Damage-based criteria. And that's why I think you give a slight lean to Morgan Charrière right there. Would you agree?
I would agree, Derick. One of the things I like most about Nathaniel Wood, great cardio and great vision. But the thing is, when you're consistently having that output, you're throwing things around. But Nathaniel Wood loves to use his range attacks to be able to set up traps. Well, when you're setting up a trap against a counter striker and they see that trap coming, that's when you're getting hurt. And that's where I think Charrière has his best advantage, is to have those big moments, do the big damage, and be able to push the pace in a brawl once he hurts Nathaniel Wood instead of having a long, drawn-out fight.
Would it be wise, given that you've seen this line flip take place, to take Wood as a dog? Do you see him as a live dog? Or now that Charrière is a solidified favorite, do you feel a little less comfortable?
No, I'm still very confident in Charrière, and I can see why the line flipped right there. Because even when I saw it on the opening, I was like, oh wow, all right, Charrière's the dog. Cool. I like this play all day long. The part where I have a little bit of hang up with Nathaniel Wood, or I can see him winning this fight, is in the volume and in the combos. He has very, very good combos and hits the last couple of shots with some power. And if you're going to do that to a guy who's just not throwing anything back at you, you're going to win the judge's decision all day long.
Yeah, I say with Wood, when I watch him, he's first and he's last, right? So like he's there through and through for all of the combinations. And then, yeah, for Charrière, it's a power thing. I like Charrière, man. I'm going to take him. I'll still take him at minus 150. I liked it way better when he was a dog, if I'm being real. But I think it's going to be a close fight. So I see it happening one of two ways. Charrière outright or Nathaniel Wood split decision. You kind of tracking my logic there?
I am tracking your logic. Especially because of the big oohs and ahs that we've seen that can sway the judges. I think that's going to be in the side of Charrière, but more so Nathaniel Wood getting majority of the fight.
Home game, man. It's London too. Let's not forget, you know what I mean? So let's take it, always factor that in consideration. But the play is the last pirate, Morgan Charrière right here. And AJ, do you want to give something specific, or you're rolling with the money line?
I'm rolling with the money line, Derick. I can see a couple different ways how this fight ends, but I think money line's the best, especially at this price. And if he does finish Nathaniel Wood, you're not going to get him at a minus 150 ever, or at least anytime soon.
Not in the foreseeable future, for sure. All right, folks. Well, that's your main card breakdown right there. Drop a like, subscribe, and comment if you haven't done so yet. But we still got more good to come. Bonus plays. We're not going to mince words. We actually went a little long, so we're going to run through a couple of these plays for you folks.
And now, the Bloody Water Podcast presents your Fight Night bonus plays.
And I'm going to kick us off. First play is an easy one. Kevin Holland, Gunnar Nelson, under 2.5 rounds, minus 163 when this one was tracked. We've already given you the explanation behind it, but AJ, talk to him, give him a short snippet about why this is the play.
I like this one specifically because it's at 2.5. Gives both fighters time to work and then be able to snowball once they get into the style of fight they want.
100%. The next one, it's a parlay. This is going to be a dog parlay, a big cash on parlay, man. Jan Błachowicz money line, Marcin Tybura money line. Incredibly feasible, folks. Let me just point that out. Incredibly feasible. Plus 606. Dog, talk to him.
Massive potential right here, folks. Like Derick said, this is a big underdog play. Somewhat, some would say an older man parlay. Both these fighters, and specifically because both of them are the experienced fighter right here, going up against the up-and-coming talent, arguably who were facing their hardest opponent yet. Błachowicz and Tybura are one of the hardest opponents that each of their respective opponents are facing. This could be what some see as a possible gatekeeper future, and if the gate stays closed, man, massive, massive payout right here.
Massive right here. So massive that you'll look back and be like, I'm dumb. Why didn't I bet that type massive? So we'll see what happens. But all right, let's keep it moving on along, man. Chris Duncan, Vucenic, inside the distance, minus 170 right here. We just spoke about this one, so give him the quick sentence on this.
Yeah, this is one fight, Derick, where I was looking, I was like, the props are interesting, right? Like, minus money for the over and a half, or the over 1.5 rounds is minus 175, at least at the time of writing this. But then the odds makers are expecting this one to end before the final bell, to have it minus 170 inside the distance. So this gives the best possible options, even if it does hit that under, right, or the over, you're still cashing in because I do see a finish coming.
All right, fair play. And then the one that we most recently spoke about, Morgan the Last Pirate, Charrière by points at plus 140. This one goes without saying, but the quick sentence on this one, brother?
Yeah, I like this one because the odds makers were looking at it minus 220 for this one to go to the finish. I think Charrière, if it does, has the best option to be able to get a finish. I like it.
Folks, this week out of all weeks, you have four plays that could literally all hit right here. So listen, if we give you multiple plays that hits, you can't be mad, but there can only be one, brother. For UFC London, there can only be one. What is the official bonus play?
Officially, Derick, we're rocking with Duncan versus Vucenic inside the distance at minus 170.
Yeah, I think that's fair right there. That's going to be a banger. You got a lot of good ones, folks. So take what it's worth and let us know which ones you cashed. And let's move on to some more goodness right here. The most important segment of the program, the unknowns of today, the stars of tomorrow.
It's time for some fight night.
If you ain't paying attention, you're going to sleep on me and I'm going to wake you up.
And AJ, if you don't mind, normally I have you kick us off. I want to kick off this week, if you don't mind. But if you don't mind, if I do so myself, Guram Kutateladze, he's back, baby, versus Cauê Fernandes. We got a Brazilian with massive power. You got a Georgian who is overlooked consistently, can knock you out, can submit you, or do anything in between. And this is a sleeper. The same reason why Charles Johnson was a sleeper just a few weeks ago. It's because y'all need to put some respect on the man's name. Charles Johnson came up short in this one. Guram Kutateladze, if I can help it, he's not coming up short. I can't do anything about it. He's the only one who can in there. But he's a minus 450 favorite with a plus 325 dog in Fernandes. And the other real reason why this is a sleeper is because Fernandes should not be that high of a dog right here. This dude is nasty, nasty kickboxing. And if Kutateladze get off to another slow start, I can see an action-packed back-and-forth war, 3-round war right here that you do not normally see when you have this large of a favorite. So again, Kutateladze, stop sleeping on the man. Fernandes, show the people what you're all about. But that's your sleeper. That's why I wanted to kick us off. Now, AJ, talk to him about what you got, brother.
I love the energy, folks. Right here, we're rocking with Kyle Lofgren versus Nathan Fletcher. 135-pound class. Talked about Loughran before a lot. He's been in the UFC for a little while now, so I'll give you a quick one. Solid hands, great pressure, down to stand and trade. He can piece you up on the feet. He can take you down and beat you up. He's got multiple ways to win this fight. Fletcher, a little more well-known. This is his second fight in the UFC. Amazing ground game. He's going to be hunting the takedowns. It's solid pressure, and all he wants to do is get his hands on you, so that way he's able to get to where he needs the fight to be, which is on the ground, right? Here's what you need to know, folks. Team finishes combined between the two of them. Majority of knockouts from Loughran, majority submissions from Fletcher. Whoever gets in their bag first is going to be looking to put on a show in UFC London. Make sure you tune in for this one.
That sounds like a banger to me, folks. Tune in. Fun sleepers on deck right here. And AJ, one more section before we get up out of here today. We got a mailbag, brother. We got 3 good ones that I want to chat with you about here today, and then we'll bounce. And I'm not going to mince any words, brother. We'll get straight into it. The first one from Chief 201. Rough go for Leon back in London. Looks like he has staph. That's what they all say. I don't know how anybody, a medical doctor, is anyone confirmed? Anyway, looks like he has staph. Still looks sharp this week. Issue is he's way too tentative, can't handle pressure at all, and just gives up. That's a little kind of what we were talking about. That's a little harsh, though. I wouldn't say just completely gives up, but just talk to the people. What's your response to this?
That's what I was going to say. That's the hang up where I have on this one, Derick. The just gives up part. We haven't really seen him just give up. We've seen him be demoralized. We've seen him had a lot of pressure against him, and it doesn't look like he can handle it. You've even seen his coaches talking to him saying, hey, man, you need to buck up. Like, you need to get with it right now. But Leon Edwards is never out of the fight, right? Like this guy, as much as we were saying before, not necessarily a bite down your mouthpiece and, slug it out, drag it out style of fighter. He still does have that dog in him, and that's where I give Leon respect.
Yeah, man. I mean, you gotta respect the former champion right here. It is true, everything that was said. I just don't. Yeah, that's the only hang up. It just doesn't give up, man. Change that, and we pretty much agree with you. So I'm just gonna leave that one where it's at right here. All right, man. Non_invincible. AJ, I read this question before we chatted here today, so it's gonna have some through and throughs here. But yeah, Charrière versus Wood matchup. It feels like the winner gets a media push. Think Wood might need a finish in London because he can't keep winning these close decisions. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty much along the lines of what we had discussed right here. The winner of this one does get to play. The winner of this one gets moved along where they need to. But more important right here, does he need the finish, right? If he gets a victory, I know we talked about it, a squeaky split, like that's going to be tough. But if he gets a decisive decision against Morgan the Last Pirate Charrière, I do think that speaks for itself.
I agree with you, Derick. I think it speaks for himself or for itself. But I will put a caveat there. If he gets a finish, that'll give him a lot bigger of a bump regardless. And unfortunately for Wood, I truly believe that Charrière has the side of the UFC that they're really pushing him. So it's like a decision on each side, Charrière gets a little higher bump. Finish on each side, yeah. Charrière gets a little higher bump, unfortunately. So if Nathaniel Wood is able to just go in there and just starch him off the jump, that's, I think, going to be the biggest jump Nathaniel Wood can have.
If I'm not correct, which I think I am correct, I'm pretty sure they came from the same promotion, but it's like the old toy that you don't want to play with anymore. And then you get the new shiny one. You're like, nah, come on, Charrière. That's the Cage Warrior guy that I want. I don't want Nathaniel Wood. He's old, But we'll see what happens. All right, last one. What the worth 09? Who you guys think has the welterweight belt by the end of year? Can't see these boring champs holding the belt long. This is a fair question because this is actually a question that I get from a lot of the peoples that, like the homies that they're not tapped in like that. They're just kind of watching a fight here or there, a main event here or there. This is what a lot of people feel, man. They're like boring champs, boring era. They're not going to hold on to it. But guess what? The boring champs are the ones that hold on to it. It's the super exciting ones oftentimes are the ones that are hit and miss. They're not consistent. Who holds the belt at the end of the year?
Ooh, Derick, it's a great question. And what has me have the hang up is end of the year. It's a long time away. There's a lot to go, but there is some stuff in the works that I think specifically Shavkat has the best path to be able to not only make it to the belt, but stay at the belt right in that time frame. So that we're talking that like 6-8 months right in that time frame. I think that's Shavkat's best opportunity.
I don't know if you remember, AJ, but I made a wager. I made a prediction this year, and my prediction was that by the end of 2025, Shavkat will not hold the belt. And here's the reason why. It's not the reason you believe. It's not because I don't believe in him. I think he actually has to have some type of like knee reconstruction or something that like is going to put him out for a while. So timeline wise, it just doesn't make sense. I think Bilal, think about it. If you're not a super active champion, you fight once or twice a year. I think Bilal holds on to it. I think he gets past JDM and end of 2025. Bilal is your champion. So if you don't like boring champs, sorry, but I think Bilal's going to hold on to it. I don't think it's boring though. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm lying. He is kind of boring. But if you like wrestling and you like jiu-jitsu and you like pressure fighters, then you like Bilal. So, easy. All right, man. That's all that we got for this one. Folks, it was amazing breaking down fights because this is what we do, but we want to give you the friendly reminder. Again, a subscription, a referral, it goes a long way. So tell a friend to tell a friend. Don't forget, it's your favorite fighter's favorite fight show, baby. What are we talking about? AJ, that's the program, yeah?
Absolutely, folks. Let's go make some money this weekend.